for today, Councillor Thokozile Sokanyele, Executive Mayor of the OR Tambo District Municipality. Allow me also to acknowledge our MEC for Rural Development and Agrarian Reform, MEC Noma Kosazana Meth. Let me acknowledge Councillor Nyaniso Nelani and all other executive mayors and councillors who are with us today. I also want to acknowledge all of our traditional leaders who have joined us. Let me acknowledge Professor Denver Webb of Nelson Mandela University, Reverend Mabo, our pastor for today, Mr. Sobantu Tilai from SAMSA, and all other representatives of all of our partners, senior officials from municipalities, provincial government, and the fisheries branch, and of course, all of you ladies and gentlemen, our special VIP guests, members of our fishing cooperatives. Molweni. It is a very great pleasure for me to join you today for this joint celebration. As you have already heard today, we launched the first provincial Oceans Economy Masterplan. And of course, we will hand over 15-year fishing rights to 53 small-scale cooperatives, the backbone of many local economies in this province. Today's celebration comes 6 months after our President Cyril Ramaphosa came here to the OR Tambo District Municipality to launch the district delivery model for the first time. At that launch, he promised you that national, provincial, and local government would come together to benefit communities here in the OR Tambo municipality and in other areas. Today, I come here representing the national government to help our president to honor his province for the direct benefit of the OR Tambo, Alfred and Zo, and Amatole district municipalities. Let me begin this good news story by thanking the Eastern Cape government and all our municipalities for the significant cooperation we have enjoyed in partnering with you and the Nelson Mandela University to put together the Oceans Economy Plan. The Eastern Cape, as we all know, is blessed with over 800 kilometers of coastline. Across the world, more and more nations recognize the role the oceans can play in combating poverty, unemployment, and creating inclusive growth and jobs, especially in those parts where land is overcrowded and degraded. Our country is one of many African countries to adopt an oceans economy strategy following the decision of the African Union in 2015 to launch the African Integrated Maritime Strategy by declaring the following 10 years from 2015 to 2025 the decade of the African seas. This strategy recognizes that African nations rely on our oceans for trade, transport, energy, food, tourism, recreation, and many other goods and services. This means that our oceans must be managed responsibly and cooperatively for the benefit of all African countries. Here in the OR Tambo, Alfred and Zoe and Amatole district municipalities, our own Oceans Economy Masterplan aims to help our people to take advantage of this unique natural resource. Our plan talks about developing infrastructure of small harbors, promoting tourism by improving facilities including beach access, safety, recreational areas, and nature reserves. Already, our own Department of the Environment has invested in beach facilities at Port St. John's, including a tidal pool to protect people from sharks and drowning. Elsewhere, we are assisting the provincial government to improve tourism accommodation in your nature reserves so that we can increase visitor numbers to this beautiful part of the world. Fishing has always been an important source of livelihood and food security for many families in the Eastern Cape. Tragically, for more than 150 years, families have had no formal right to fish and have experienced harassment from law enforcement officers when they try to feed their families or make a living. In 2016, our government amended the Marine Living Resources Act to recognize the existence and the importance of small-scale fishing men and women. Following that, we launched what we called the Expression of Interest, and 316 communities from 4 coastal provinces registered their interest to participate in fishing. Here in the Eastern Cape, there were 78 fishing communities that were formally recognized. Altogether, these 78 communities involved 5,335 individual fishermen or women. Today, 53 of those 78 communities will receive their rights. Altogether, your 53 cooperatives comprise 4,361 fishermen and women. What that means, honored guests, is that for every one person you see sitting here at home today, there are 3 more back home who are also getting rights today. These rights are not for 1 year, they are not for 2 years, they are for 15 years. In fact, although we have been going all over the country issuing these rights to small-scale fishing men and women, today's group is the largest group of fishing people who have ever received rights in South Africa. Now there's more good news. Today's rights are free of charge and all cooperatives are exempted for 3 years from paying fees for their rights. Now, ladies and gentlemen, often when I meet with fishing men and women, people come to me and say, I want my permit for this, I want my permit for that. It's like they think I'm carrying the permits in my handbag. But I'll share a secret with you. Today I am carrying permits in my handbag. This permit is for East Coast rock lobster. The season opened on 1 March. On Monday, you can go and fish. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in the cooperative, you must decide when you want to fish for food for the family and when you want to fish for commercial purposes. When you fish for the family, those fish are yours as an individual. When you fish for sale, for commercial purposes, those fish belong to the cooperative and they must be controlled by the cooperative for the cooperative's business purposes. Now, when you were applying for your rights, one of the things we asked you is what kind of fish are you interested in catching? And many cooperatives said we want to catch lionfish at sea. That obviously means you would need a boat. It also means that when we issue the commercial fishing rights under FRAP 2021, we will have to keep a portion of the lionfish for the small fishing cooperatives like yourselves. What that means is two things. One, for now, you can fish on the shore with a hook and a line. But we are also bringing 20 vessels to the Eastern Cape to share amongst the 78 cooperatives while we are waiting until the FRAP 2021 process is over. So let me tell you what is in the fishing basket of rights. I've already told you there is East Coast rock lobster. There is also mussels, oysters, and kelp. Yes, a woman must look after the woman. There is also hake, squid, traditional lionfish, and sardine when the sardines run. The other thing that all our cooperatives are allowed to do is that our cooperatives are also allowed to farm abalone. We call it abalone ranching. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we understand that if, as small fishermen and women, you want to move away from this hand-to-mouth existence, and you want your cooperatives to provide you with a decent living, we understand if you want that, you are going to need support. The department is partnering with our municipalities, our provincial government, but also our sister department of small business development and the National Skills Fund to provide training and capacity building for your co-ops. You need training in business and financial skills. Businesses need to keep records and books. Cooperatives are governed by laws, and as members of the cooperative, you do need to understand those laws. You will need help to run these cooperatives on business lines. And of course, as soon as you start to have a business, there will also be quarrels in the cooperative, and we will have to help you with skills to resolve conflict. And of course, you are going to need to invest in equipment and in time as you grow in boats. So our sister department, the Department of Small Business Development, has agreed to bring their 2 agencies here to the Eastern Cape. It's called SADA, the Small Business Development Agency, and SIFA, the Small Business Finance Agency that gives financial support. Now, one thing I must say to you is that after we finish giving you your rights just now, we want you to stay so that the department can explain to you everything that is in the rights, but they can also explain to you how the training is going to work. Because one of the things we have said is you can't be coming up and down to Mthatha for training. The training must go to your own communities. Now that you are going to become owners of fishing rights, you've got 2 responsibilities. The first one is you have to help us as the department to make sure that people who do not have rights and should not be fishing in our waters, they must not come here. What that means, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are going to be working with the Department of Community Safety and the Department of Defense and Military Veterans to improve the way in which we are protecting South Africa's coastal waters. The other thing I want to ask you to help us with is to protect our marine protected areas. Now I know that some of these areas have not been popular with you in the past, but let me explain to you why they are important. If we want our children and our grandchildren to still be able to fish from the sea, we must create places where fish are free to grow to maturity, lay eggs, and make more fish. And that is why the marine protected areas are so important, and why we think you will also have an interest in making sure that we protect our fish for you and for your children in the years to come. Ladies and gentlemen, today marks the start of a new chapter in economic development in the Eastern Cape. MEC and mayors, I wish you good fortune and every success in implementing the province's Oceans Economy Masterplan. Abalobi, you who have worked so hard and fought so long for the rights you are getting today, I join you in celebration.